Sí, las aventuras de Mariana en las montañas de Carolina del Norte. Se dice Carolina del Norte, North Carolina, Carolina of the North, Carolina del Norte. Bien, bueno, y bienvenidos a todos, y feliz día feriado, happy holidays, those of you who are celebrating high holidays who aren't here, but maybe watching later. Bien, vamos a practicar hoy con muchas cosas. Tenemos algo reciente. We've got something that we're going to open with that is has nothing to do with grammar at all, but vocabulary. And before we start with our little opener video, I am going to show you the item you may need to have handy, although I will bring it up on the big screen so you'll be able to see it. I'm trying to enlarge it now so you won't have to like squint to see the size. After our video, we're going to open with these leftover questions that we didn't have time for last week, but it's one of those combinations of using two verbs together and we conjugate the first and not the second. So ideas of using poder, a form of poder, with a second verb. So that's what we'll be working on after our video. If you're one of those people who printed something out, oh, you're a good doobie, then you may want to just check that out, but we will have those questions on the screen. So no big deal. Vamos a empezar. Y vamos a hablar también de we're going to talk a little bit about those indirect object pronouns today. Uy, ¿qué más? What else? We'll see if you had any other questions. We're also going to, we're going to have some conversation photos. So that's our plan for today. Kind of a three-pronged thing. And I wasn't going to lead off with this, but I am now because it is a brand new video and it's a vocabulary related thing. Pero es importante. It is important. And you'll see why. Sí, van a ver por qué. Es importante. Ok, momentito. Tengo que arreglar mi... Y es un video muy corto, muy corto. Ok, a ver. Aquí. Don't say importante. Alternativas. Yeah, alternative. So this is a vocabulary building thing. Now, some of it is more like written words. She'll tell you. Some are used commonly in speech. Some are more common for you to hear in something formal, like a formal speech or formal writing. But a lot of and one thing you're going to notice, the power of cognates. Cognates are... ¿Qué son cognados? What are cognates? Who remembers what a cognate means? It's a fancy grammar word. Well, not grammar, really. It's a fancy language term.
Don't remember.
A cognate is a word that it sounds like cognitive, something to do with your brain, and it is that. A cognate is a word that sounds like a word in your native language.
Like
and it means, and it means what you think it means. It's a word that will sound almost exactly the same as a word you already know, in this case in English, and it means either exactly the same thing or very close to the same thing. So in other words, these cognates are words that make it easy to pick up new vocabulary because they're related to something you already know. Okay. Y vamos a ver. So I want you to pay attention. She puts a lot of little subtitles in there. And she starts with, girlfriend, sit down. And I want you to listen for a phrase that is also going to be an equivalent to spill the beans. Spill the beans. Spill the beans is not a cognate. Spill the beans is an idiom. Spill the beans means what? Somebody
Tell
tells you,
everything.
Tell all.
Tells you a secret.
yeah.
Giving a clue.
Okay,
Mhm.
tell it all. Yeah, spill the beans. Tell me everything you know. So she's going to have something that they would use instead of spill the beans. But it is kind of a spill idea. I think you're going to recognize it. Okay, vamos a empezar.
Ya, siéntate. Te tengo una noticia muy importante. No tengo tiempo de chismear, amiga. Ándale, es importante. ¿Qué tan importante? Súper importante. Bueno, a ver, suelta el té. There's nothing wrong with the word importante, but there are other words that you can use. Agrégale variedad a tu español con las 8 alternativas a importante que aprenderás en este video. Número 1, considerable. Considerable. We would use this one when we use importante in the sense of big. Te llamo porque quería reportarte que la llave de la cocina tiene fuga. ¿Está grande? Pues sí, se ve considerable. ¿Alguna vez has tenido un accidente automovilístico? Sí, una vez choqué con una moto. ¿Estuvo feo? Pues sí, el daño fue considerable, pero nadie resultó herido de gravedad. Daño considerable. This pair usually goes together. Número 2, crítico. We use this one when we want to say that something is really, really, really important. Es crítico que abordemos el tema del calentamiento global. La sequía en Nuevo León ha llegado a un punto crítico. Hoy por hoy hay gente que no tiene agua en sus casas. ¿Notaste lo de hoy por hoy? That's a chunk of Spanish, a phrase that native Spanish speakers use all the time and that can help you with your fluency. You can download a list with a lot of important Spanish chunks in the link in the description. Número 3, crucial. Crucial. This one is exactly like crucial. La infancia temprana es una etapa crucial en el desarrollo de una persona. Para aprender un nuevo idioma es crucial que empecemos por escuchar un montón. ¿Escucharon bien? Para aprender un idioma es crucial que empecemos por escuchar un montón. Get some more great advice on how to learn Spanish easier in this video. Quédate hasta el final. You may be shocked to find out which English word we Mexicans use often when we want to say important. Número 4, fundamental. Esta es muy formal. You hear it more in formal speeches, like, from the president, and it's more common to find this word in writing. La característica fundamental del puntillismo es el trazo redondo del pincel. Podemos dividir la historia de los mayas en 3 periodos fundamentales: el preclásico, el clásico y el posclásico. Número 5, central. This one is like main. We use it when we want to say that something is important within a context. Uno de los temas centrales de la agenda es el tema migratorio. Compartir comida rica es central en la convivencia de los mexicanos. Número 6, notable.
Oh, notable.
La actual gobernadora de Quintana Roo ha sido un personaje notable en Cancún desde hace muchísimos años. ¿Quién fue Benito Juárez? Veo su nombre por todos lados. Benito Juárez es un personaje notable en la historia de México. En la historia de México hay mujeres notables como Josefa Ortiz de Domínguez. 7. De vital importancia. Este es muy parecido a decir importante. but longer. And this one sounds much more formal. You'll hear it more in like academic circles, in politician speeches, you know, like very, very formal. Es de vital importancia que conserves tu título en un lugar seguro. No se puede volver a imprimir. Proteger los derechos de los niños es de vital importancia para el progreso de la nación. Número 8. Enorme. Huge. Enorme. Let's use that in a conversation. Amiga, siéntate. Te tengo una noticia enorme. No tengo tiempo de chismear, amiga. Ándale, es huge. ¿Qué tan huge? Enorme. Bueno, a ver, suelta el té. Como notaron, dije tanto enorme como huge. This practice, you know, sprinkling English word in their speeches is quite common among certain classes in Mexico, you know, like the rich and pretty. Les tengo una noticia huge. Nos vamos a casar. That is a line from a Mexican movie, a comedy called Nosotros los Nobles.
Exacto. Muy bien. Okay. See, what she's talking about, like people sprinkling some English words in like huge. She's talking about something known or a group of people known as fresas. Fresas means strawberries. But if you want to talk about kind of an equivalent of yuppie, yeah, yuppie folk, or Valley Girl speech, okay, what used to be called Valley Girl speech, like in the 80s and 90s, that's the kind of the Mexican equivalent of the idea of fresas, people who are kind of well-to-do and speak kind of hoity-toity and borrowing some little English words along the way, okay, is kind of fresa talk. So, okay, bien. Did you notice the spill the beans phrase?
Okay.
They, instead of beans, they use a food item, but it's
Tea.
tea, te, suelta, suelta. Suelta means to like let go, release, to let go of. Suelta el té, let go of the tea. Spill the beans, suelta el té. Okay. Okay. I hope you noticed that. Now, actually, these are quite helpful words to know, but of the 8, the ones you might use most would be that last one, enorme. Es importante, enorme. I'm going to send you the link to this video. It is worth listening again and pausing, because when she's got a long phrase, is it hard to like read all of that real fast? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to send you the link to that, because some of these are really good to know and good to be able to pull out of your hip pocket as conversational things to add in instead of importante. Todo el mundo, everybody, todo el mundo sabe importante, but considerable. Sí, considerable. You hear that a lot. Daño considerable. Ooh, wow. Kind of, yeah, important damage. We wouldn't say important, considerable damage, quite a lot of, considerable. See?
What was that other one she said? Hoy para hoy?
Hoy por hoy, hoy por hoy. See?
Eso for today.
Sí.
What was that?
As of today.
Okay.
As of today, meaning, ooh, you know, right now. Yeah. Hoy por hoy. So I'm going to send you the link to that, because these are like really useful vocabulary words. But considerable, the one she had, the end, notable, enorme, are all super helpful ones. Crucial, you hear crucial. Now the hook, the difficulty with some of these is, and actually it's good to build these in to your vocabulary, but the difficulty is sometimes we tend to anglicize these words. So make sure when you use a word like considerable, which is spelled exactly the same, considerable, that you don't pronounce it as
Considerable.
considerably. No. Considerable, considerable, vital, fundamental, fundamental, yeah, not fundamental, fundamental, considerable, not enorme, but enorme, enorme, bien. Bien, es importante, es crucial, central, central, wow, muy importante, central. So I want you to take a look at those words and see if you can build them into some ideas for next week, perhaps, quizás. Bien? Okay. I will make sure I send you that link. I am also going to, this is going to tie into a homework you're going to have. There's going to be another video I will ask you to watch to prep for next week. And that is how we change, it's not a grammar thing at all, how we change a word to use a word we use as one part of speech into a different part of speech. So how a lot of words in Spanish might morph or change from being a verb into using the same idea, but using it as a noun, or vice versa, or using it as an adjective. And these are helpful things for you to know, because a lot of times you can take one word and tweak it a little bit, but use it as a different part of speech. You'll see in the video why that's a helpful thing to be able to do. Okay. Muy bien. Vamos a ver. I would like you to go into some smaller verbs, smaller groups. See, quiero que ustedes practiquen. I want that you guys should practice. Quiero que ustedes practiquen con el verbo poder. Poder, bien. I'm going to want you to practice with poder. I'm going to break you into some smaller groups. And because we have my carefully laid ideas of how I break you into groups are all now smashed because we have some folks gone. Vamos a ver. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to create some groups as we go. Y bueno. A ver. Okay. While I plug you into some groups. Momentito. Okay. ¿Y qué quiere decir poder? What does poder even mean?
Can you
Be able to.
To be able to, or can, right? All right. And we more often, I think, use can than the idea of able to. Pues es así, depende, ¿no? Depende. Bien. Okay, but, perdón. Okay, momentito. All right, I've almost got our groups. Okay, got our groups assigned. Here we go. So you will see that little structure. I want you to use puedo or puedes or puede. Probably you're going to be using puedo because you'll be talking about yourself. Podemos or pueden. You might want to talk about other people, and that's okay too. ¿Qué puedes hacer en el otoño? What can you do in the autumn, in the fall season? ¿Qué puedes hacer en el otoño que no puedes hacer en el verano? What can you do in fall that you cannot do in the summer? Y para aquí, eso es un tema enorme. Es un tema enorme aquí en Arizona, ¿sí? Cuando empieza el otoño, ¿entienden?
Ujú,
Cuando
sí.
empieza el otoño, es un cambio enorme aquí en Arizona, ¿verdad? Sí,
So,
sí.
that's always normal.
La neta, sí, la neta es que la estación del otoño empieza un cambio enorme en el clima, un cambio enorme en el tiempo, un cambio enorme en la temperatura que tenemos aquí en Arizona, ¿sí? Y hay muchas cosas que podemos hacer de nuevo, ¿ok? Aquí en Arizona, ¿ok? And that's what I want you to talk about. ¿Entienden? Understand? Creo que necesitan solamente casi como tres minutos, 3 minutes, ¿sí?
Yeah.
Does that seem about right to you? 3 minutos, más o menos, 4, 3 o 4 minutos. Ok, bueno, practiquen por favor. Go hit that join button. Y se me olvidó mi reloj. I forgot my watch to time it, so I'm going to have to run out quick and get my watch. Okay, and make sure you hit your join button. Bien, fantástico. Ay. Ok. Se me olvidó, uy, el reloj. I had forgotten my watch. I had forgotten my watch. Se me olvidó el reloj. Y tengo que calcular los minutos que tenemos aquí para practicar. I need to calculate those minutes and make sure I don't leave people just hanging in those rooms. Okay. En el otoño puedo, ¿qué puedo? En el otoño puedo podar, prune, puedo podar los árboles más fácilmente. En el otoño, en el otoño puedo levantarme, puedo despertarme un poco más tarde. I can get up a little bit later, ¿sí? No tengo que despertarme con el sol para hacer ejercicio. En el otoño puedo tomar un café en mi patio y no hace tanto calor. En el otoño puedo hacer ejercicio a las 10 o a las 11 o a la 1. No tengo que hacer ejercicio al amanecer. I don't have to exercise at the crack of dawn, al amanecer. Hay muchas cosas que puedo hacer en el otoño. Me encanta el otoño. Y nos quedan como 20 segundos con este ejercicio. Ok, vamos a ver. Ok. Ok, vamos a ver. Aquí vienen. Here comes everybody back. Sí, en unos segundos. Ok, está bien. Está bien. Quiero tomar un minuto, 2 minutos para compartir sus ideas. I want to take just about a minute or a couple minutes to share some ideas. If you had a really great, juicy idea, a really fun idea of something out of that exercise that you want to share with everybody, I would like you to share that with everybody here. Por ejemplo, no tengo que despertarme. Despertarme. Sí, puedo despertarme un poquito más tarde. ¿Sí? En el otoño, ¿sí? Puedo hacer ejercicio a las 10 de la mañana, a la 1 de la tarde. Así. Okay. Sus ejemplos. Any ideas you had that you would like to share?
I'll try one. It's Kathy. Puedo conducir mi carro con las ventanas abiertas.
Oh, con las ventanas. Con las ventanas abiertas. Abiertas. Sí, abiertas. With the windows open. Puede manejar o conducir el carro con las ventanas abiertas. Perfecto. ¿Qué más?
I had a question about a sentence that I did, and I said, podemos ver a nuestros equipos de fútbol favoritos. And for the watch, should be mirar, or can I use ver?
No hay gran diferencia.
Okay.
If you talk about watch a program, it's ver usually, even though I know mirar means
Okay.
to watch. But ver un programa. Ok, por ejemplo, podemos ver los partidos. We can watch the games. Podemos ver los partidos de nuestros equipos favoritos.
Okay.
Podemos mirar. Mirar actually makes some difference because you're looking at the teams, yeah? Podemos mirar los equipos favoritos de fútbol americano, por ejemplo. Sí, de fútbol americano. Ok, sí, bien. Ok. Bueno, ¿qué más?
Gracias.
What are the other ideas you want to share?
I have one. Mine's weird. No puedo comer una trufa de chocolate con lima a Godiva en el Antonio. Antonio.
Ah, okay. Okay, bien. Me gusta.
Solamente in the summer.
Okay. Gracias. Sí. ¿Qué más? Any others? ¿Hay otro? ¿O hay otra idea? ¿No?
I have one. En el otoño podemos ver los árboles cambiando de color.
Ah,
En
sí.
Wisconsin. En Wisconsin.
Sí. Sí. Es la cosa que echo de menos más. Es la cosa, sí, que echo de menos más. It's the thing I miss the most. Echo de menos mucho los colores de las hojas que cambian durante el otoño. Es una estación muy bonita, muy bonita. Bien. Ok.
I have
Aaron,
another
what was
one
that
here.
phrase? Hecho de menos.
Echo de menos. Echar means to throw out. Echo de menos. Menos means less. Echo de menos is miss. Miss. Yeah.
Okay.
Echo de menos el otoño en el Midwest. Sí. Echo de
Your
menos.
tone of voice said it all. I just couldn't figure out what those words were.
Echo de menos. See, there are a couple of ways to say miss.
De menos.
Echo de menos is one. Extrañar is another, which is just one word. Echo de menos, you need, hay tres palabras, ¿no? Echo de menos, and menos does not change. De menos is the missing part. See, echar de menos is to miss. Extrañar also means to miss. And it's a regular verb, es un verbo regular, extrañar, por ejemplo. Voy a poner estos términos. We're going to take just a quick look at those two, porque vale la pena. It is worth it. It's again, we're looking to add some vocabulary to your toolbox, yeah? ¿Cómo se dice to miss? Y depende. How you say to miss really depends on what you mean by miss. ¿Cómo se dice to miss? Bien. Echar de menos, por ejemplo, sí, echar de menos. Y echar es un verbo que es muy fácil de usar. It's a very easy verb to use. And the de menos part stays always the same, but you change the echar part, right? Sí. Entonces, echo de menos. Don't think in English, no es echo. Echo de menos el cambio de colores de las hojas. I miss the change of colors with the leaves. ¿Sí? Echo de menos. Por ejemplo, echo de menos a mi hermana que vive en Michigan. I miss my sister who lives in Michigan. And notice there's a little difference between this echo de menos, I miss a thing, and this echo de menos that talks about a person. The little thing I need if I talk about a human being is that itty bitty word. Yeah. Because a human being receives the action of miss, I need that a mi hermana, a mi amigo, a mi hijo, lo que sea, okay, whatever it might be. Echo de menos. So if we miss, I just change this idea to, instead of echo, I change it to
Echamos.
echamos. Echamos de menos echamos de menos a nuestra familia. We miss our family. Echar de menos. Otra manera de expresar miss es el verbo que es solamente una palabra, extrañar. Extrañar es to miss. Es igual a echar de menos. It is a synonym, es sinónimo. ¿Sí? Extrañamos a nuestros nietos. We miss our grandkids. ¿Sí? Extraño. Extraño mi mi vieja chaqueta. I miss my old jacket. You know, maybe you kind of got rid of it. It's like, I wish I hadn't done that. Extraño a mi vieja chaqueta. Extraño, por ejemplo, extraño mi viejo barrio. I miss my old neighborhood. Sí, extraño or extraño mi viejo barrio. Extraño mi viejo barrio. I miss my old neighborhood. So those are two ways to say miss, but you cannot use these two verbs to say, and you'll understand why. Oh, I missed my bus. I missed my plane. That's not the same kind of miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss with echar de menos or extrañar es un sentimiento. Echar de menos es un sentimiento. Extrañar es un sentimiento. Those are feelings that you have. But I missed my plane is not a feeling. Well, it might be. Blankety blank, that kind of, it could be, but you know what I mean. That kind of, to miss, when you miss a vehicle, when you did not miss, when you want to mean that you didn't get there on time, or the other thing left early, is this verb, perder. Perder means to lose. Okay, to lose, but it also means to miss when it's like a vehicle because you got there late. So, okay, so, and I have to use this as past because you never say, oh, gee, well, you might say I'm missing my plane. Yeah, like while you're running, while you're running down the terminal. Yeah, okay. Pierdo mi vuelo. I'm missing my flight. As it's happening, you could use it that. But usually you hear this with a past tense of perder. Like, perdí el autobús. Perdí el autobús, ¿sí? Perdí el metro. Perdí el tren. I missed the train. You know, if you catch like the L or a train to get into work, if you take a train, we don't have too many opportunities to use that here. Okay, so entonces, when you're missing something relating to transportation, that is a different verb altogether. You could not use extrañar because that would create great confusion. Yeah, but you know, that activity of missing is a different kind of miss, right? Okay.
Gracias.
Excelente. De nada, de nada. Ok. A ver, entonces, bueno, vamos a pasar a otra cosa. We're going to move on to something else. A menos que haya.
Yeah, Marilyn, actually, I still have another example here that I'm still confused of using the para and por is always a problem with me.
You have a normal problem then.
See, I use this sentence. Podemos invitar nos amigos por la cenar en nuestra casa.
Ah, we can, okay.
So is
Podemos
it for or
invitar.
para?
Para, and I'll show you why. Por para, wow, you got a 50-50 chance of getting it right. And you know, and do we get it wrong? We get it wrong. So this is a very, very normal question. Sí, es algo muy común. This is a very common thing. It's very hard to get por para right, even though we only have a 50-50 shot at getting it right. Okay, podemos invitar.
Podemos invitarnos amigos para la cenar en nuestra casa.
A nuestros amigos. We can
Oh.
invite our friends, and we need nuestros. So that's the word that means
Okay.
the friends belong to us. That word nuestros means the friends belong to us. It's what we call a possessive pronoun. There are all kinds of pronouns, isn't it? Doesn't it drive you nuts? Okay. Podemos invitar a nuestros amigos para cenar en nuestra casa. Para cenar. So why do we need para and not por? Because the idea is in order to have dinner, right? And whenever we say in order to, followed by a verb, we need that word para. Okay. And the kind of the way to think of that, I guess, is that if you can say in order to, you want to plug in para. So we could say, podemos invitar a nuestros amigos para celebrar su aniversario. Aniversario, to celebrate their anniversary. We could plug in any kind of verb. Podemos invitar a nuestros amigos para tomar unas copas, to have a few little drinky poos. Yeah.
What is?
To have a few drinks, para tomar unas copas, ¿sí? Podemos invitar a nuestros amigos para charlar un rato, to chat for a while, ¿sí? Para charlar. Okay. Anytime we use it to say in order to do this, we plug in para. The more formal explanation. So to me, the easy way to remember that was, oh, could you say in order to? Then we need para. Okay. Bien. Now in English, sometimes we shorten it. We might not say in order to, we might just say to eat, to celebrate, to drink, to chat. Okay. But if you can plug in the idea of in order to, para is the right thing. But the real, the real reason is that para there indicates kind of a straight line. And it means that we're looking for an end point. Whenever the idea we're conveying is, oh, we're going to a destination, we're going to this end point, para is the right word. Para always indicates where we wind up. And where we wind up is in activity. Cenar, charlar, tomar, celebrar, así, yeah? An end point, a destination, where we wind up needs para, right? Por kind of means just around here, but vague, yeah? Por carries with it the idea of around here, or by means of, but it doesn't really indicate an end point. That's kind of wow, that's really cerebral, isn't it? But Pero así es. So it is. Qué buena pregunta. Es una buena pregunta. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then it's that,
yeah,
because
thank you.
I'm always confused with that. So now that whenever it is like in order to, then you can just plug in para, and then if you
Plop it in.
it's like what it's called, like just for. The meaning it's for itself is por.
Sí.
Is that
You know, there are a lot of rules. You kind of have to get a feel with a lot of examples, because I could give you a
Yeah.
bunch of rules. And here's what winds up happening. The rules for para wind up being about this big. The rules for por wind up being about this.
okay?
And then you think, I got to know all that. Well, if you were like me, 15 is like, memorize these rules. Yeah. But we don't always do so well with memorize these rules. You need to know a few general ideas, but the very general idea, even though it's an abstract thing, is that para always indicates where you wind up at the end of a process, whereas por is much more vague. Would you guys like to do some lessons on por and para, some practice? Not lessons so much as practice with por and para?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sí, un poquito. Okay. and
So
I'll
if
build
we
some-
give, like, for example, if we give a present for someone, so you use that por.
Is that, does that present end up with that person?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Para.
Para.
Oh,
Boom. Yeah.
okay.
If I am fixing lunch for my kids, am I talking about who gets that, who ends up with the lunch? It's para.
Para. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I want to say the train leaves for you're taking one of those, you're taking that Grand Canyon train.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a big special trip. It's that special Grand Canyon train, and the train leaves for the Grand Canyon. You
Para.
could use but you might use para because you're talking about where it winds up. Yeah. But if I want to say, here's a contrast, Juanita, that you might
Okay.
get, because this, again, it's kind of abstract, but it's a feel you get. If you want to say, oh, wow, I haven't been in Old Town Scottsdale in ages. You know what? There is a jewelry shop around here. There's a jewelry shop around here that I visited last year. It's around here. Is that a specific endpoint, or is it just,
No.
it's fuzzy?
Mm.
Okay. Hay una tienda de joyería. Hay una joyería. There's a jewelry shop. Hay una joyería por aquí. Por aquí. Por aquí es muy general. Por aquí. Por aquí means around here.
Okay.
But it's not like a definite destination. Yeah. Por aquí just means someplace around here, in this vicinity,
Okay.
in this general area. Por aquí.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But por is often much more general. Okay. Bien. Okay.
Okay.
Buenas
Gracias.
preguntas. These are really good questions, and I like that you bring these up. Okay. Algo más, something more.
I've got one.
Sí, Pat.
Oh, this is in the what you can do in the autumn. Puedo ir al Día de los Muertos Festival a los Centro de Artes en Mesa.
Okay.
A veces se vende alebrijes. Alebrijes.
Alebrijes. Sí,
Sí,
alebrijes. Alebrijes.
Es muy divertido.
Es muy divertido. Ok, entonces, puedo ir. I can go to Day of the Dead Festival, right? Sí. Ok. Oh, sí. En el otoño, puedo ir And you could also use puedo asistir. ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre puedo ir y puedo asistir? What's the difference between those two?
Never heard that second one.
Oh, asistir. Oh,
Is that
it's a
attend?
false cognate. It's a,
attend.
Yeah.
asistir means attend. Asistir
Yeah.
a. Asistir a. I can attend. As opposed to I can go to. Are they very similar in meaning?
Mhm.
Almost the same. But is Day of the Dead an event? You might hear asistir. So you might hear either. Both of these are correct. Los dos son correctos. Los dos son casi iguales. They are almost the same. But attend is a little more specific rather than puedo ir. I can go to. They're almost the same though. Okay. Puedo ir al festival de Día de los Muertos. ¿Sí? Puedo ir al festival de Día de los Muertos que se celebra, which is celebrated, is se celebra, que se celebra al principio de noviembre, which is really beginning of November. I know some places here you may see celebrations like in Mesa, late October, even though it's really first part of noviembre. Okay. Puedo ir al festival de Día de los Muertos. We can't say Día de los Muertos festival. Yeah. Festival de Día de los Muertos. Okay. We have to use de with that. Día de las Madres, Mother's Day. See, Día de Independencia. A lot of times in English, we can take Independence Day, yeah, and we stick independence in front of day, or Mother's Day. Día de las Madres, Día de la Independencia, Festival de Día de los Muertos, así. Yeah, we don't have like an apostrophe s or, yeah, whenever we indicate something like that, we need to attach a de phrase. Buen ejemplo, Pat, es buen ejemplo. Me gusta mucho. I like that a lot. Okay. Algo más? Any more?
That's good.
I've got one.
Bueno, Charlie, dinos.
Puedo mirar hojas roja y amarilla.
Bien. Puedo mirar, I can look at, see, I can see. Puedo mirar hojas, leaves, sí, rojas y amarillas. Excelente, me gusta, muy bien. ¿Algo más, Charlie? ¿O no?
No, that's it.
Okay, bien. Excelente.
You must not be living in Arizona.
Pues a veces, por ejemplo, quizás ahora no, pero en el otoño sí. Si
If you go to
ustedes,
Flagstaff later on in October, late
exacto.
October, yeah.
Si ustedes van a Flagstaff, si ustedes van a Sedona,
Mhm.
si ustedes van al norte
Yeah.
de Arizona, sí, hay hojas que cambian de colores. Sí, y incluso si ustedes van a Spur Cross, a Cave Creek, porque la elevación, sí, porque Cave Creek o ¿cuál es la otra ciudad? El otro pueblo se llama Cave Creek, Carefree. Sí, porque la elevación es más alta. A veces tienen a veces tienen el cambio de colores. Sometimes they do have that change of color.
In Scottsdale, the change of the color is only on the license plate.
Ah.
It's from Canada, from, you know, it's changed the color.
Sí, sí. Eso es, sí. A veces vemos la piel muy blanca, ¿sí? We have that pale, sí, sin sol, that skin color that has not been exposed to any sun. Aquí. Okay. A ver. Muy bien. Okay. I want to take a quick look at a little bit before I send you off to do, we are going to do more practice with well, oh no, you know what? We'll do this next and we'll take our hard thing last because this is something I want you to be able to have a chance. I don't want to shortchange you on practice. Vamos a practicar un poquito más. I want you to do some free conversation with these pictures. We're going to do it in 2 phases because there are 2 sets of pictures. Okay, so we're going to start with the 3B, sí, con las 3 fotos aquí. So I want you to do a little bit of just practicing, and you can talk about what the people are going to do, what they just did, what they are actually doing right now. And I'll give you a little preview of how that might go. ¿Cuál es el verbo o cuáles son los verbos para la acción o las acciones? Habla de lo que hacen las personas en las fotos. So this is very free form. Por ejemplo, for example, and I'm going to use an example you might not use so that I don't kind of color how you use these. You may want to say, por ejemplo, quizás pueden ver, you could say, los estudiantes
Mezclando.
en la clase de química. En la clase de química, sí. Los estudiantes en la clase de química, porque no se puede ser química clase. No. Química clase, no. Clase de química. Los estudiantes en la clase de química mezclan las químicas. They mix the chemicals. So you can keep it in presente, the present idea. Or you might feel like saying, they're going to study reactions. They're going to study. Los estudiantes van a estudiar las reacciones de químicas. Van a estudiar what they're going to do. You might choose to do that. Or you might choose to change that idea to acaban de hacer experimentos. Acaban de hacer experimentos. They have just done experiments. You can choose to keep it in present, to put it in the future, or to change it to recent past. So to that end, I'm going to just put in a quick little box here with presente, just as a reminder. You might keep it with presente. You might keep it, you might flip it to near future. You can do any of these. Ir, plus a, plus infinitivo. You might choose to use acabar plus de, perdón. My keyboard, I get it. Plus de, plus infinitivo. You can talk about these 3 photos in any way. ¿Sí? Tenemos estudiantes en la clase de química. Tenemos, no sé, son habitantes, son personas que viven en la ciudad. Son, personas que visitan, son turistas, no sé. Y tenemos aquí en la tercera foto, la tercera fotografía, personas en una reunión. People at a meeting. Personas en una reunión. Bien? Okay. Bien. So you're going to talk about those three situations. You can use present or going to or just did. Lo que quieran, whatever you want. Okay. I'm thinking because we've got 3 photos, you're going to need more than 3 minutos. Más que 3 minutos, ¿no? Más que sí. 7 minutos, 7 u 8 minutos, 7 or 8 minutes, ¿sí?
Sí.
Sí.
8.
Bien,
Sí.
8 quizás, 10 might be dragging it a little long. Okay. Bueno, okay, I want you to get lots of speaking practice. Y van a ver, you're going to see the photos, so don't like wildly scramble with where did those photos go? Momentito. First, I got to put you in your Zoom rooms, and then I have to send you out. Okay, after you go in your Zoom rooms, hit your join button, you will see the photos. Van a ver las fotos en el cuarto de breakout. Ok, unos ejemplos. Sus estudiantes trabajan juntos en la clase. Los estudiantes observan el experimento. El chico entre las 2 chicas. El chico en medio de las 2 chicas añade un químico al tubo. Los estudiantes se ponen las gafas protectivas. Bien. Los estudiantes tienen que anotar las reacciones en su experimento. Los chicos observan todo que pasa en en el tubo, en la botella, algo así, ¿sí? Hablando de los turistas caminan por la calle. Los turistas van de compras, they're going shopping. La pareja, the couple, la pareja busca un lugar para almorzar. They look for a place to have lunch. Algo así. Y la tercera foto, tenemos sí la jefa, the boss, la jefa les explica el proyecto a sus empleados. She explains the project to her employees. Los empleados hablan de su trabajo, hablan de un proyecto, planean lo que tienen que hacer. Los empleados comparten sus ideas durante la reunión. Así. There are lots of verbs we can use to talk about any one picture, which is why I like to use these, because it forces you to think of, what are some common things we talk about? We observe people doing stuff all day long, doing a great variety of things. And it's great to plug in new verbs and new ideas so that you practice talking about what is going on. That helps you to actually put that vocabulary into use. Para el futuro, for the future. Y nos quedan quizás 2 minutos. We've got about maybe 2 more minutes left till we bring everybody back. And as surely as I think of examples, there are like 5 other things about every photo that somebody comes up with. That, 5 new ideas, 5 new things that I didn't see or I didn't think of. And that is the great joy of doing these kinds of activities. What one person sees, the other person did not. And they say, oh, qué buena idea. What a good idea. Okay. Un minuto más. Un minuto más. Okay. Estoy mirando el reloj y muy pronto vamos a cerrar los cuartitos. We're going to close our little rooms ahorita, right now. Okay. A ver, and Zoom gives everybody a full minute to wrap up what they were finishing and come back in. Okay, muy bien. Aquí vienen todos. We'll have everybody coming back on in a minute. En un minuto.
Hey, Marilyn,
Sí.
we have actually this is from the first one that Marian with Nora were talking about, like how do you say it, like if it's like for niños, like los niños, but if your kid is not small anymore,
Oh,
what do
yeah.
you call?
Eso es importante. That's an important thing to know. Yeah. Okay. Bien. Niños. Okay. There's no exact dividing line, but you know what? If your kid is past 5 or 6.
Yeah, like where then they're in teenage.
Chicos.
Chicos, okay.
Oh, you're right, Nora and Marian.
Muchachos. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
muchachos. Okay.
Muchachos también. Sí. Muchachos, chicos, older kids. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So, the difference is if you look at a kid and look at their age and you would say kitty, oh, the kitties are out playing. That's niños. But if they're not in that kitty range, if they would be insulted and offended, no somos.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. See, so a teenager who's mad at dad for saying you cannot have the car this weekend. No soy niño. Mira, papá, no soy niño. I'm not some little kid. Yeah. See, chicos, kids very often expect to be addressed by their teachers as chicos. Your kid brings his teenage friends over and they're eating everything in your fridge. Chicos. Coman, eat. Yeah. All right. That is typically what you would say. Yeah. Es fundamental. That is a really fundamental thing to know. Es fundamental. Es muy importante. That's an important thing to know because, they don't think of themselves as chicos at a certain age. Even if they behave like it. Okay. Okay. Bueno, vamos a ver. Let's see what kind of ideas you might have to share about número uno. And it can be anything. Uy, momentito. So, and I cannot see you raising your hand. So you'll have to just pipe up and, okay. De la primera foto. Algunas ideas, some ideas.
Estudiantes mezclando los productos químicos en el laboratorio.
Oh, sí, están. Necesito mis tildes. I need my tilde board. Están mezclando. That is another thing you can say. Are mixing. Están mezclando los líquidos, los químicos, lo que sea. Sí, sí, they are mixing. Sí, bueno, qué bien.
So you can just say los químicos.
Los químicos, sí, los químicos.
Okay.
Sí, los químicos, está bien. Los químicos y se escribe químicos, momento. Los químicos. ¿Bien? Los químicos. Una tilde. You need a little accent mark. Químicos. Okay. ¿Qué más? What else?
About
No.
los chaquetas blancas.
Perdón, otra vez, again.
Llevan las chaquetas
Llevan chaquetas
blancas.
Blancas. Bien, see, they're wearing. Here's another way of saying they're wearing, para que sepan. So, llevan chaquetas blancas would be a very typical thing to say for a Spaniard. In Latin America, you might hear the same idea, same exact idea expressed as tienen puestas. They have put on them. They have the puestas means put on their bodies, but we would say they have these on. They have these on. We use that a lot. Tienen puestas las chaquetas. Chaquetas blancas. See, same idea, same exact idea, just a different way of saying it. See, you might even have they put on, se ponen las chaquetas, but that's a little bit different. That means they're putting them on, right? Okay, bien, bueno. ¿Qué otras
How about
ideas?
Usando, would you use usando? From
You
usar?
could
Okay.
use usar, sí. Usan las chaquetas, usan los lentes protectoras, sí, o protectores, sí. Usan lentes claros para proteger los ojos, sí. Usan, they use, sí. ¿Qué más?
¿Van a terminar el experimento?
Perdón, otra vez, Pat.
Oh.
Hacen.
¿Van a terminar el experimento?
Van a terminar el experimento. Van a terminar el experimento. They're going to finish the experiment. Sí. Otra idea. Any other idea? No. Okay, bueno. La segunda foto. Our second photo.
La pareja acaban de comer pizza.
La pareja, the couple, and now we're going to make a singular verb. Acaba de almorzar. They just finished eating lunch. See?
Acaba. Oh, this is okay.
Why would that? What? ¿Por qué? Why is this? La pareja acaba. ¿Por qué es la pareja acaba? Why is it not acaban?
A couple
This
is
is
one
just-
thing.
It's a singular, the couple.
The couple. And couple is one of those verbs that's a singular. It's a singular noun. Yeah.
Sí.
Like equipo, like
La
familia. Sí, exacto. Lo mismo. La pareja acaba. You could change that to los dos acaban de almorzar. Same idea. You're just using different words to say it, right? Okay.
Right.
So never think, the way I thought of that was wrong. No, los dos acaban de almorzar. El hombre y la mujer acaban de almorzar. All those things express the same idea. They're just using different words to do it. Okay. Bueno, ¿qué otra idea?
Ellos van a caminar en la ciudad.
Van a caminar en la ciudad. Van a caminar en la ciudad. Sí, exacto. Muy bien. ¿Qué más? Por ejemplo, buscan un restaurante. Buscan un restaurante. They're looking for. We don't need the word for at all. The for is built into that verb buscan. Buscan un restaurante. Sí. Así. Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Sí, dime.
How do you know what verbs have a built-in for or to So you can leave off.
Ooh, how do you know? Sadly, you just have to know. That's not it is not a satisfactory answer, but it is the way it is. Okay.
Just have to know, Cindy.
So, okay.
Good to know.
I could give, yeah, you just have to know, but let me give you an idea. Yeah, buscar is really specific. Look for. Okay, I guess another example might be pedir, to ask for, like you're ordering something. Por ejemplo, pido una bebida. I'm ordering a drink. I'm asking for a drink. Pedir is to ask for, meaning you want to get something in return, right? And
Cindy,
you
I
just
saw a TED talk that said our goal is to be understood, not to just be right. So
well,
this is
yeah.
good.
See. Okay. So yeah, you just kind of have to know. And I would say that, you know, it's not like there are gobs and gobs of these, but yeah, you know, de vez en cuando, once in a while you run into them. Okay. Bien. La tercera foto, our third photo.
Van a hablar de negocios.
Van a hablar, bien, van a hablar de negocios. They're going to talk business. Yeah. They're going to talk about business. Negocios is just business. Okay. Not like work in the home or work in your yard, but work that has to do with business. Van a hablar de negocios. Businessman is hombre de negocios. Una manera de decir, de expresar businessman es hombre de negocios. That's one way to say businessman. Okay, there are others. ¿Qué más? What else might we use?
Los empleados están teniendo una reunión regular.
Están terminando. Uy, it bumped me out of my keyboard. Momentito.
Están teniendo una reunión regular.
Oh, are having. Okay. Are having. We probably won't use tener.
No?
No.
Like having a regular meeting?
Están en una reunión regular, normal, diaria, a daily meeting, you know, because it's regular. Una reunión diaria, una reunión normal, así.
Diaria, you say?
Yeah, diaria. Diaria would mean daily. Like if you meet every day for a short while, diaria is one day to say daily. But having a meeting, it'll just be están en una reunión. And it probably won't use tener. Están hablando en una reunión. Okay. Están trabajando en una reunión. Sí. Okay. Otra idea.
How about están planeando una fiesta?
Otra vez, Charlie. I heard the first part. Están
Planeando. Planning.
Oh, planeando, sí. Está planeando su trabajo. Excelente. Sí, me gusta mucho. Están planeando su trabajo. Están planeando un proyecto. Están planeando los equipos de su proyecto. They're planning the teams. Sí, planear, to plan. Bien.
No, planificación.
Otra vez.
For planning, planificación.
Oh, planificación. Sí, están pensando en la planificación. Planificación would be, wow, that's a very highfalutin word for planning, but muy formal, but that's a formal word. Yeah, planificación. Okay. Sí, están están hablando de la planificación. They're talking about planning. Bien, bien. Okay. Bueno, I don't think I'm going to have time to do justice to ask you, to go into that second group. So here's what we're going to do. These four, and you know what? I'm probably going to break these out into 2 and 2. I'm going to break this out into 2 slides so that we can fit more on the screen. We're going to talk about, this screen and this screen and this screen and this screen. Next week, same idea. The reason I like doing these, so we're going to hold these ideas, but I'll split them out into 2 screens so there's more space. Momentito. Okay. I like to use these pictures because there is a wealth of vocabulary that you can plug in, and there's no wrong answer. There really is no wrong answer for these. So it forces you to talk about what you see going on around you, which is what we do in normal conversation. Okay. We're going to leave those for next week, but I'm going to throw maybe one little idea out, and maybe you won't need to do it yourself, but we're going to throw one little idea out because in that second one, you may actually be able to use this little idea of this hangnail of the word le is something you might be able to use in that second set of photos in particular. And this was my idea. So in other words, we're going to come back to this set of slides for next week. Can we maybe, and you don't have to do it for all of them, but can we maybe in some of those pictures plug in this idea of le? And here's what we're going to use. Here's the idea I want you to think about, and maybe see if you can include it in 2 of those pictures at least. You might want to be saying that somebody is paying somebody, or somebody is telling somebody. This word le is, or maybe the word les, the plural of that, is often used with these kinds of verbs. So I want you to get used to some verbs. A verb like caminar is, I guarantee you, never 0% going to use le. Caminar is 0% of the time going to use le, right? Trabajar is 0% of the time going to be used with le. Okay. But dar, giving something to somebody, saying something to somebody, certain kinds of verbs will use le or les a lot because you got another human being that's receiving action. That's why. So a little quick review. This little word le is a hangnail, but you're going to hear le plugged in all the time. And it will sound in many cases redundant because it can be. It is used a lot of times in commands, in questions, to indicate that somebody's receiving action. It is a tiny, tiny word, but it is very seldom left out with these ideas. So in other words, when I say left out, a lot of people, because they don't like to have to use le, and you're very normal if you say, I don't like to using le. I don't like using les. Wow, it's so confusing. It goes in a different place. Yes, it goes in front of the verb, or with a command, it's tagged down to the end of the verb. But in other words, if I use it with dar, this is a command, so we tag it on the end. Dale. Dale is just, you hear it at sports all the time. And it means go after it, man. Go for it. You know, it's like what you used to cheer on, a guy who's chasing after the ball, or the guy who's running with the ball and you want him to reach the goal line, or reach the net, or whatever sport it is, right? Dale is something people say. But if you use dar with like, you know, give him the money, right? Dale el dinero. Dale el dinero. Give him the money.
Marilyn, Marilyn, you also
Sí.
mentioned like me and te as other possible. Is there a reason why we're concentrating on le and not the other ones?
Right. The reason we're concentrating on le is that people really notice this word le a lot with things that people say, especially with commands like dígale, tell him, right? Nobody's going to say, well, they might say, tell me, dígame, you're right. Yeah, it's also the me, the te, the nos. I'm going to add, Charlie, gracias. Thank you for that question. I'm going to add a little list to this set that I didn't have last week. Besides le, you might hear me, you might use te, you might hear nos, you might hear any of those, but they indicate who's receiving that action of the verb, okay? Here's the thing want you guys to understand. For people who don't like that word le, they might say, can't I just skip the word le and say, voy a dar mi pasaporte al hombre. Can't I just say that? Voy a dar mi pasaporte al hombre. Or shorten al hombre to a él, to him. Can't I just say, give him, voy a dar mi pasaporte a él. Can't I just say that and forget that word le? Sadly, you'll never ever hear somebody say just that without the word le.
Mm.
Will they understand you? Yeah, but it'll sound a little odd. It'll sound odd. So in other words, it's great and perfectly expected to say redundantly, le voy a dar mi pasaporte a él. That's cool. It's also cool to drop the a él if you feel like it, because it's obvious, because of the situation you're in, right? But they'll almost never skip that word le. So you can't just plug in a él and skip the word le. I mean, you can, but it'll sound weird to them. It'll sound very weird. Okay. So, okay. That is the point. So I want to see if maybe you can work a le in there. Y gracias, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie, because I'm going to put an extra slide in that lists the other words besides le, because yes, there are other words you may hear with that. And see if you can plug that in. The other thing I want you to do, which is very non-grammar oriented, is you're going to hear, I'm going to give you as homework a vocabulary thing. It'll be this guy. And I always think of him as speaking Spanish with a slightly Texas accent. I have to tell you, I imagine I might sound like I have a Midwest accent, which would be, people think I'm Italian, which I'm not, but I would rather they thought I was Italian than I was a Midwesterner. Okay. But because he lives in Texas, it's okay for him to do that. But he has a very, very good video on how we can, if you like know one word, you can change it into a different part of speech to use it in a different way. Like cambiar, and knowing that the noun form of that is el cambio, the change, instead of cambiar, to change. And that's going to be your other homework for the week. See, bien? Okay.
Gracias.
And I think that'll give you enough. maybe too much to
Yes.
do for the week.
Thank you.
For sure.
Quizás es demasiado. Maybe it's too much, but
Maybe.
yeah, it's a lot to wrap our minds around, but that's okay. But there's all different ways that we can, just different ways that we can use the language. Okay. Eso es todo. And I think that is it for today. Yes, I've hit the 11 o'clock hour. Some of you may have to leave to do other things. Okay.
Gracias.
Excelente.
Gracias.
De nada.